I was 7 the day my world folded in on itself. One minute I was a kid in a black dress, too big for my bones, the next. I was on a porch with my school bag split open and my teddy bear face down in a puddle, and a woman who married my dad 3 months earlier was calling me a thief like she was swatting a fly. Yeah, that happened. A gray pickup rolled to the curb and a man stepped out. Grant Walker, my dad's best friend. He took one look at me shivering on the stoop and said in that steady voice grown men use when something inside them has already decided, what are we doing here? People in my town still argue about that moment. Was it his business? Was it family? But let me tell you what I remember. His coat smelled like sawdust when he lifted me off the boards, and my breath stopped shaking for the first time all day. Cedar Ridge. Oregon was stuck under that heavy winter sky when we buried my dad, and in the church hall I tried to set my teddy bear on the casket so he wouldn't feel so alone in that huge, quiet Vanessa. Pearls, red lipstick, grief like a costume, pinched my wrist and whispered, "Don't embarrass yourself," across the aisle. Her friend Damon wore a suit that squeaked when he moved, and a smile that said he enjoyed the show. I saw Grant in the back then. Jaw-tight eyes on my hand, and even though he didn't move, I knew he'd seen enough. That night, through a thin wall, I heard Vanessa's voice smooth the way cold glass is smooth, as long as no one sees the will. It's ours, and Damon's lazy answer papers are ready. The kid can cry all she wants. I curled around that one-eyed bear and heard my dad's old line in my head. Your name has a heartbeat. It's in your signature. You can't fake that forever. You know what I mean. Morning came with a scream about a missing diamond chain, and the kind of accusation adults think a child can't outrun Vanessa. Ripped my bag off the hook, notebooks and socks flying. Damon swirled red wine at 10 in the morning, like it made him wise, and said, "Thieves start young," and in one neat motion, Vanessa shoved me out the front door and onto the stoop. Neighbors froze behind their curtains. My braids came loose, my bear hit the water. That's when Grant's truck stopped and everything changed. He didn't beg or bargain. He just said, if Paul were here, he'd ask, who taught you to lie? Then he picked me up and walked, and behind us Vanessa hissed, no one escapes my shadow, remember that. The Walker house had a long porch and windows that threw warm squares onto the floor. Inside it was quiet in the way houses get when people are trying not to break the last good thing in the foyer. A boy in a wheelchair sat with his hands resting on the rims, like he was holding himself together. Theo Grant said, "This is Lily, she'll be staying a while." And Theo didn't look at me, he said, "Do whatever you want, Dad," and rolled a fraction of an inch so I could see how thin his legs were and feel shame for nothing I'd done. Dinner was silverware weight and a chandelier. I slid a roll onto Theo's plate, because my mama raised me to offer bread before opinions. He flicked it off like a bug and said, "I don't need charity." Grant set his fork down and swallowed a sentence he didn't want me to hear later on the couch. I tried to cry without making noise and failed. The sound was ugly and honest. I didn't know Theo was in the hall listening. I didn't know he turned away so I wouldn't see him care. Morning light made dust look like slow snow, I told Theo. Without looking at him, my dad always said, a signature has a heartbeat. You can't fake it forever. His fingers tightened a little, and he said nothing. That night, the front door didn't click like our butler makes it click, it thudded. Footsteps moved wrong for our house, fast and careless. I slid onto the landing and saw a shadow cut toward my father's old study. Theo was already tucked in the doorway, eyes wide. We watched Damon yank drawers like a man who believes fear makes him strong. He stuffed a folder into his jacket and let one page flutter to the floor. He didn't see it. Didn't see us when the hall went quiet. Theo rolled forward, picked up that sheet with the careful dignity of someone who hates being seen as weak, tucked it into his desk, and closed the drawer so softly it barely clicked. In the morning, I spotted the white corner peeking out, asked what it was. Theo tried to block me. I was small and stubborn. I slipped it free. There was my father's name at the bottom, and none of his heartbeat in it. The rhythm was wrong, the pressure was wrong. The way he curved his J like a river bend was gone, I said. This isn't him, and felt the floor tilt. Grant stepped in with a stack of files and read my face first. The paper second. His eyes went hard and kind at the same time. "We'll need witnesses," he said, and that was the moment the fear inside me shifted into something with a spine. We walked to Nora Briggs's porch, where tomatoes hang in summer, and the wood creaks like an old song. She opened the door with mended elbows and a look that knew too much. "I don't want trouble," she started then. She looked at my hands and changed her mind. "I saw her put you outside in December with no coat." I stayed quiet, and I won't anymore. That's what courage sounds like, by the way, small and shaking, but pointed in the right direction. Not an hour later, Carmen Lee came to Grant's office with a cloth bag and a truth. I gave Lily soup when she was shivering. Vanessa fired me the next day. I kept quiet because I needed a paycheck. "I'm done being quiet." Grant rested a hand on her shoulder. "The way a builder braces a beam. Thank you. We'll keep you safe." We took the forged paper and 3 real documents to attorney Lydia Park. She didn't need long. "Whoever forged this didn't know how your dad drives the pen on the downstroke of his J," she said. "It's a bad copy that should have felt like a finish line. It felt like step 2 on a staircase we could still tumble down." Threats started coming. The way cowards send them, blocked numbers, voices sanded down so you can't place them. "You're putting the girl in danger. Keep going," and she vanishes. Grant packed a bag without sleeping, lifted Theo's chair into the truck, slid my backpack in next to his tool belt, and we drove down a gravel road to Aaron Pike's place, former combat medic. Eyes, like a man who notices everything and flinches at nothing. "You picked the right night to find me," he said. "No one touches her here." Back in town, Vanessa threw a party. You could smell the money on champagne and pyramids. A dress sharp enough to cut you. If you got close, she smiled into camera flashes and told anyone who'd listen the Jenkins legacy was intact while the toasts floated up to the ceiling. Damon fed folders to the fire like words can burn facts out of existence. Grant walked in late, straight as a plumb line, and said, "I didn't come to toast. I came to say goodbye." "You'll answer to a judge," she whispered. "Careful with fire." And he said, "Not this one spreads." He found a blue folder hidden under a false drawer. Bottom medical records dosages that turned a steady heart into a failing one. I swear I felt the air change from 2 towns away. That was the twist, not just a forged will, but a pushed death evil with receipts. The police didn't storm the house with sirens. They showed up in quiet pairs and waited for a text by morning. The DA had the file by noon. We were in a courtroom that smelled like clean wood and consequences. Judge Morton Hale dropped his gavel with a crack. "DA." Megan Soto walked the jury through the forgery like stacking bricks oaring. "Is good in court, it means the facts are heavy." Lydia pointed out the missing heartbeat in the signature. "Nora told the truth she owed her younger self," Carmen said. "Soup should not cost a person their job." Aaron explained the medicine swap, with no drama because the math didn't need it. Vanessa stood and called us liars. Damon broke first and threw her under a bus. He helped build the gavel. Fell again, cuffs found wrists that never thought they'd wear them. Vanessa looked at me as they turned her and hissed, "You'll pay my hand," found Grant's. The flinch that used to live in my chest moved out. We didn't step into sunshine. We stepped into a day, the color of wet cement, still. It felt new on the courthouse steps. I asked, "Do I even have a place to go?" And Grant didn't give me a speech. He pressed his forehead to mine and said, yes. Sometimes. One word is a house you can move into. Home-changed mornings had cereal clinks and Theo cursing under his breath at the walking frame. I walked backward, counting his steps like beads. When he stood for 3 seconds, Grant tried to hide his tears and failed. Nora brought a cherry pie that leaked on the dish towel. Carmen handed me a scarf and called me soft and stubborn. I kept both. One evening, the sky looked like a bruise finally healing, and Grant said, family isn't blood. It's who doesn't flinch when it's time to fight for you. I believed him, and that belief put weight back in my bones. Here's the messy part that keeps the diner debates going. Vanessa's lawyers filed an appeal. Damon's plea deal means he'll walk out years before folks think he should. People ask if mercy is weakness or strength, if Vanessa was born mean or learned it. One little choice at a time, like a bad house leaning more each winter until the first hard wind finishes the job. People ask if Grant overstepped or if he should have stepped sooner. Me, I keep my dad's old pen in a cup, and sometimes I write my name in the margins just to hear that heartbeat he taught me to listen for. So tell me this, if you were in Grant's boots when a kid hit the boards on a cold porch, do you step in or keep driving? If you were me, would you grow harder or softer? And where do you put mercy when safety is still on the line? Drop your city, tell me if you've ever seen a forged smile hiding a forged document. Argue with me if you want, I can take it. And if this story sat with you, hit like, subscribe, share it with someone who still believes kindness can drag the truth into daylight. I'll see you next time, and we'll keep talking about right, wrong, and all the hard ground in between.